Welcome back, everyone, to Verizon Game Changers Series 2, Day 2. I am your host, Elizabeth, joined by Wyatt and Bala. And as I say always, if you are just joining us, you missed Shopify Rebellion in defeat Reform GC in very convincing, dare we say, Shopify Rebellion fashion. It was fast-paced. We saw some harbor tech. It was really... You got it all here. We got a clutch, as you can see here. Alexis absolutely destroying it on the first pistol round. Some tried and true Shopify Rebellion, Bala.
Yeah, I mean, this is them in a nutshell. And the comp idea, the comp switch worked great. I love watching Mel play this Harper. It's just so good, both on attack side and on defense. A couple rounds earlier, just really close on the mind on defense right there, doing a post plant, smoking herself off, walling again. And you're like, wait, why are you walling yourself off? It's such good space control and awareness of the map. And understanding of the win conditions as well. Everybody in Shopify contributed, and that's what you expect.
That's teamwork right there. That's the Shopify we know. And they have the advantage of being together for so long, having access to, boot camps and things like that. Obviously, Coach Effie's contributes a lot to this, but just, I also want to give credit to Reformed. Why? Because while the scoreline may look a little damning, they did put up a fight every single time.
They definitely had some good game plans, and they had a couple nice rounds where they were able to effectively stave off a Shopify hit, some good anchoring. But at the end of the day, what you can see from the highlights too, it's very difficult to win when you can't trade out players ever because they're just so skilled. Floor, the amount of 2Ks that Floor had gotten at the end of that highlight reel was crazy. It was like 4 or 5 in a row. Like, if you can't trade a player out in those situations because they're just so skilled,
yeah,
you're just not going to win.
And she's by herself half the time, too. It's like, there's not even a setup for it. It's just like, yeah, okay, cool. That's Floor.
But the person that would be setting her up is Alexis, and we hyped her up before the game started because I think if you look at, there's a chart out there from the Game Changers Championship of the assists she has for her duelist. She's like all the way at the end on the right side because the way she sets up Floor is so great, but she also has some insane mechanical prowess, as we can see right here with this clip that I think we all lost our minds at, Bala.
Yeah, I mean, this is ridiculous. I thought it was over for sure. I was like, wait, they're losing the pistol. Wait, there's a chance. Maybe. This is going to be an interesting game. And it was an interesting game, don't get me wrong, but I knew from the moment that Alexis got the 1v3 on pistol that, this wasn't going to be easy for Reformed at all.
Yeah. I saw a chat that was like, wait, since when does Alexis frag? My dear, Alexis has always
come on,
been
that's
fragging.
disrespectful. Oh, chatter, come on now.
I'm sorry you had to learn today, but the girls who get it, get it. And
most
we've been
of the
getting
time,
it for a while.
Yeah, and I'm girls, and I get it. And most people, I mean, most of the time she just doesn't have to, but she has really smooth, calculated aim. And specifically, there was one clip in that highlight reel that looked the least impressive by far, but was really important, which was the 1v1 where she just shot whoever that was planting the spike in the back on default A. That was the culmination of them winning a thrifty round in the second half. After, for the first time, Reform had been able to string a few rounds together, maybe make the believers start to believe in a comeback. And no, she just played that 1v1 very intelligently, was just silent, caught a timing to win that easily. And that's 2 massive impact clutches from Alexis that in both halves just started the things rolling, knocked over the first domino for them to make it an easy win.
Just tried and true. What else do we expect from Lexi, really, honestly? I don't really expect anything else, but that's just a sort of insane skill. But as well, I want to bring up the Mel Harbor as well. We were wondering, like, what were they cooking? And Bala, you talked about it for a little bit, that, the way she was moving that harbor while using that cove, etc., was just chef's kiss, if you will.
Yeah, and she's so experienced on it too. It's very interesting to see that they're going in this direction for the bind meta. Shopify's a team that tends to follow the meta. I mean, maybe sometimes there's a split opinion and they go for like the more out there thing, but in general, they're on the dot, right? So I was pretty excited to see that, and here they are. I mean, kind of making a statement in this choice.
Because I was talking to you during the break, I had asked Mel, because if you go back and look at Shopify's comps before, Mel played a harbor on Haven and then they removed it for reasons, and I was forgetting the reason why, but there was a specific reason as to why. So to bring the harbor back on bind and see just exactly what they were cooking, like you're talking about that space they were taking, just honestly vintage Mel, if we're gonna call it what it is. It's true, able to call, able to frag, and she was opping at certain points because that's what she does. That was a class. If this is your first time watching Game Changers, that was a classic Shopify Rebellion Melange masterclass, if you will. But going into the maps next, that was Bind. Our next map will be, I'm trying to remember it off the top of my head, but I can't. Thank you. Sunset, thank you. Sunset. And this is also Shopify Rebellion's pick. So they they took Reformed map pick and they're moving into their own map pick of Sunset. Now, Bala, you were talking about how you were surprised by the agent comp that they chose this time, kind of a little more off-meta, a little more creative. Do you suspect that maybe they will do the same thing for Sunset?
Sunset, I think, is getting a little more solidified with the Gecko plus extra initiator type of thing, and also like moving away from the double controller. And I think now, especially with the Viper changes and stuff like that, I don't expect much change. I think the meta has solidified somewhere on this map, and that is double initiator with Gecko in the mix.
Why? What about you? Do you suspect anything different? Because I know Bala disagreed with you last time, so I need to
No, I mean,
Shopify
Shopify are gonna continue to play what they've been playing with the Breach Gecko, which has shown itself to be possibly the best comp on this map. But yeah, at least as to what Ball's saying, it's pretty much you need it. I think Gecko is a must pick, and then initiator of choice. But I am partial to the Breach and the
Breach, KO, whatever, honestly.
Yeah, pretty much whatever you want. But
I think we did see this. I mean, we didn't see it on the main broadcast, but if you're keeping tabs on everything going on in Series 2, we did see this from them against Floppers. It was a 13-4 win from them with the comp that they're picking right here. So
yeah, Reformed have brought out a different. They've lost Sunset 3 matches in a row now. On the last one, they were playing the Shopify comp, but they run the KO instead of the Breach. And now they've just gone off the deep end with a totally different approach. We've seen some Sage on this map, but no real Astra play here comes to mind for me at all. That is pretty unexpected, but I'm not mad at them trying to bring out something completely unorthodox when you're going up against a team on their map pick on a map that you are just not very good at.
Yeah, I do struggle to see, especially on defense, how to actually get the Sage in positions that it'll be useful, like you see on a map like Split or Icebox or something like that, getting them to a spot where they can actually be a part of the hit. But maybe they'll have something cooked, because there's definitely ways to get active. And you do see like a team like PaperX really innovated with Sage early on, finding some really nice walls to get oppers on lines or just different little angles as well to catch people off guard. PaperX is running that up until Shanghai too, so this is definitely not completely out of the blue.
Not completely out of the loop, but can Reformed stop beating and maybe take a map away from Shopify to bring it to a map 3? I know just who to send it to. It is Shift and Athena.
Hey, I hate to break it to you, Liz, but you didn't have a choice. You had to send it to us. There's no one else here. It's just the two of us. So let's talk about it. Astra, Sage. Where do you find the potential strengths? Because I'm kind of thinking from the defensive standpoint, Astra, you can just flood smokes. You could also use a star to kind of vacuum off the wingman from a plant, maybe. Like, there's opportunities to stall, but how do you really actually get full value from a comp that looks like this, I think, is the question in everyone's mind.
I mean, I definitely agree with you. I think it's going to be a heavily defensive comp. It really plays into a lot of that stall and denying choke point mechanic. But honestly, I feel like this is one of those comps that's a heck it, we ball type of thing, where they're just choosing to pug it out because they haven't had that much success on Sunset.
Yeah.
And now they're just going to play with whatever they feel comfortable and hopefully have that surprise factor going into it so that Shopify doesn't adapt as fast as they normally would against a meta comp.
Yeah, it's going to be curious, and I think there's also question marks in terms of what does the most efficient value look like for Reformed on offense as well. Obviously, the post plant setup with Barrier Orb can be great, but again, do you just flood smokes and just hope that your star placement allows you to get deeper control than you normally expect? Could be part of it, especially with the ability to pull back your stars and still use them as quick smokes, so to speak. And it looks like Reformed are going to kind of do that, executing through the middle of the map, moving over towards A. Noya's committed to at least taking a fight here. On the corner, a couple of the shots are in and out, but no real contact, and Slant is going to get a free plant as the defense rotates over.
Noya left on site, but no one is here to clear, but it doesn't matter because 3 players towards this A-link for Reform. They're gonna pop flash through and be super proactive, getting the kill, but trade after trade happening. Finally, they come out on top, and a 2v4, make that a 1v4 almost instantly for Reform.
Yeah, really good stuff. Again, the proactivity coming to the light, and it works out perfectly. Noya, who just lurked on site, not able to do too much from their quote-unquote surprise position, and Reformed will only drop one of the pistol. Quick route through mid, and there were a couple of stars placed to allow them to get a little bit of extra control, move a little bit faster, so that could be something for us to keep our eye on, especially as we get closer and closer to full purchases for both sides.
Yeah, I feel like if there's anything that Reformed learned from that last map is to be a lot faster with their reactive protocols and retaking. And I feel like once they saw all this information happening towards that mid, they flashed through that smoke, got a beautiful timing onto SR, used a lot of that noise and information to kind of plan their setup. And this is what they might have learned from that last map. But going towards a lot of players towards B main, but Shopify is actually contesting this pretty hard.
Yeah, definitely are. There's that again. Star down, Nebula out, just gets that quicker control over towards B main. Mel, right in the corner. Here comes the check. Paranoia was a part of it, but doesn't make a difference. The superior weapons do work out pretty nicely. A late aftershock, though, does actually tally another elimination, giving Alexis maybe a chance to find more, but not to happen with the classic. Noya now rotating in just on 100 full points of health against a 1v3.
Pretty good damage from SR on this Thrifty. They do get a lot of damage done on the remaining 3 players on this team and 2 guns down. But, I mean, if Noya gets one more, this will be the ideal scenario for this 1v3. But yeah, that B main control just went so well, so smooth. They used the Sage Slow in order to get so much of those players to stop from crossfiring, pushing in, and kind of following up. And so this might be the kind of way that we've seen Reformed play for this attack side, which is something we didn't really consider because we spoke a lot about defense.
Noya just trying to parkour around the site. Not going to work out for anything. So, yeah, a couple of early kills. And like I said, the early contest from Shopify does find some value. But as soon as the battle back starts to come through and Reform realize the threats, things have been pretty darn clean for them. So now we go into their bonus. 2 Bulldogs, a Spectre, and then a couple of pistol upgrades into the full 5-man rifle situation for Shopify. And this will be, I think, the first time we get a chance to see how Shopify want to deal with, again, all this early little star down, Nebula pull back. How much do you want to contest these early star placements that Reformed are trying to utilize?
Yeah, the thing is with SR's comp, with this Breach especially, they're going to be relying a lot on these trap plays with Breach and Gecko as well. So a lot of pressure towards this A main. They don't really care that much about the stars and taking a deep line, which is something SR is really good at. Playing aggressively and taking map space without using that much util. And now Reformed trying to put a lot of pressure towards that mid, leaving Riv to actually lurk towards here is a really, really good play. But the reclear coming in with that problem.
Well, it's going to be Mel completely caught off guard. Good isolation. Reformed not committing to that A hit yet, though. Still plenty of time on the clock. And does Riv, have they heard anything on this rotation back, possibly from Noya? So really, it's just Fluorescent holding for now. Moment where Noya says, wait a second, we've re-cleared elbow. There's nothing front side A main, so I can actually step back into all my utility here at B, and the timing of this rotation may work out. Just depends on what happens with these defenders over on the A side here for SR trying to get over to help this.
Yep, one player still set up in mid, perfect for a late market flank when they do hit the site. But all 4 players, they're still going to have to deal with Noya and Noya's traps. Noya sitting on site, not worried at all. The wall coming in to deny anyone from market peeking through, but a lot of spam and still is coming in.
Oh, and this is so cheeky from Floor. Just getting onto the elevation, using one of the blast packs, and it works out for 3. So paint shells will be spent just to help the defense step a little bit further in towards main. Floor even up and over. Aftershock was out for a moment. A little bit of damage is collected, but largely speaking, it's just a little bit of a boost up for Floor that gets over the top of the Fairy Orb, and Reform did not expect that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I talked about Noya being alone on site, but my bad, Floor. I forgot that you were in market. I'm so sorry. Like, just getting 3, absolutely demolishing that execute. Reform, they need to be sticking closer to that wall. They know they don't have that much cover They need that Astra to be putting stars towards market, but there isn't that much they can do when Floor is just on one, getting the 3K. But the first gun round of this map shift is going to look like a lot of players heading towards that default stack towards A.
I'll see how things go. Mel looking to get through on this first start cover. Little one-way out. Trailblazer to check. Orb looking to get collected. Sarah has to hold their ground and does well. 2 for 1. And on top of that, the ability to still hold here a little while longer. They do lose Mel in the process, though, so Reformed may still give this a bit of a go. See if they could pick up on the damage that was already tallied against Sarah.
Really good util to follow up, and Sarah just tucked in this corner. Alexis, a beautiful util throwing that dizzy, but a little bit too late. But Alexis manages to get out and escape from that situation.
Yeah, I love this, though. Put the wall down, bring Riv back to life, actually, of all things. Aftershock will deal a significant amount of damage. Riv back to 20 HP. So there's no further heal left available here for Misu. It'll stay at 86 after everything's all said and done. One off the neural theft as well here for Riv. So we go into a pretty true 3v3, all things told. Shots Reformed working out. Slandy able to find 2 through elbow. Star's going to get placed behind this, and now Noya has to rotate over. Very difficult 1v3.
The Breach Sun the Breach not having that much util to fight with. Just missing a little bit of those shots, trying to play aggressive just isn't working that well for Shopify when they want to use any of the re-clear utilities they're using. Anoya left in elbow, not managing to get a kill. Sandy with a beautiful 3K to bring this round back. And they did use the Sage really, really well. Like you mentioned, they used that wall, isolated the angle, and managed to pick up Riv back to equalize the numbers forward. I really like RF as well, just walking back and re-clearing. Yes, they did lose one, but they did manage to shut down the rest of the team and get that res back up. Really well played by Reform, not afraid to take that space back, especially with bodies. Really crazy to kind of do it with this comp. I feel like they're super confident with it, but it worked out.
Yeah, it works out super well. And I think most importantly is you realize that, hey, we got rid of the smoker in Mel, plus there's no paranoia, so why not try to fight this essentially 3v4, although it really felt like a 3v2 on the A side of the map. Good calls, plus the res helps out immensely. So back to pistol upgrades for Shopify with just Floor on the Guardian, and they're stacking all 5 members up and in through mid, so Reformed is going to be walking up A and seeing absolutely nothing here.
A lot of hope for SR with the fast flank here able to be done, and we're going to see 2 of these players push down towards mid. But in the meantime, Reform, they've already gotten so much information through this elbow. They have so much of this map space towards A. SR gambling a little bit wrong. They're going to check this B main. They're going to see that trip and not going to be able to push in. But all 5 players shift already on this A side, getting the plant down. They have the showstopper and the Astro Wall for this post-plant situation.
That's the other part about what this comp could do well. When it comes to dissecting a site, the Cosmic Divide does it better than anything else that's out there in the game. So that could be a huge resource towards the next full gun round, unless this starts to get a little bit hairy, which with a 1-for-1, that's not terrible news. Alexis able to try to join back. Paranoia well thrown, and Mel continues to find frags, now has a Vandal in hand. Time is becoming a bit of an issue here, though, for Shopify. Try to get this one through the finish line. Before he gets to with the Guardian, a little bit of a cross-peak setup. Reformed get caught rotating back out towards A, and that's enough for Shopify to pull off, which, again, may not be classified as a thrifty round, but call it what it is. It is a thrifty round. Not enough purchased, and it'll be a 2-3 count.
I'm getting deja vu, Shift. This is exactly what happened on Bind when the momentum completely shifted in Shopify's favor. They won the thrifty. They knew that all they had to do was just play a little bit more aggressive, a little bit more together. I feel like they've been lacking a little bit towards that A main. They managed to get the trades, but the trap plays aren't really working as well. So they're gonna change that setup up, having that Cypher playing towards that A main, and 3 players towards this B. Breach getting ready to stun off contact towards that B main, and looking like a deep fight here.
That's exactly what comes through. Cosmic Divide also spent very early on. Showstopper will be used to clear out market, so it's just on the Mel. Flashed up, trying to find some ground to stay alive on, but not going to happen, so it all rests with Floor. Showstopper for her, up and out. That's going to work out. Sarah on the cross, re-clears out market. It just feels like Reformed is about to make the perfect play, and then someone for Shopify steps up and shuts it all down.
Yeah, that literally looked like the perfect counter, the super fast market push, the punish on the breach, just holding out util towards market. But it just didn't end up well because, again, they mentioned this on the desk. You cannot win a game if you cannot trade out. And Fluorescent just being able to get those kills, all these players just being able to jump on top of the 1v1 situations just works out for SR. Such a good situation. But Miso and Slimy here, 2v1, not too bad. There is a Gecko ult for a lot of that information for the post plant, and SR is playing this safe by just staying together towards top mid.
Can you get value out of Misu on this Sage? And maybe most importantly, do they check this angle and take down Noya to make this a little bit more doable in a 2v2? Shoulders are good. That's all you need to see if you're Noya. Barrier orb will go up. This will be broken immediately. Doesn't get reinforced. Slow orb behind it. Also opened a little bit too deep. So the Thrash will get spent. Noya trying to follow up on it, but still, the follow-up. Oh, you thought for maybe a moment. Misu slowed down enough, but again, the utility just doesn't quite land. Just fractions too short or too long. And the absolute clean retake from Noya gets not just their first 2 kills, but also the 3rd round for Shopify.
Yeah, I mean, what can you do when your util that's supposed to slow the other team down doesn't slow them down because they just keep holding W and running way past. Again, this was a wild round, just trade after trade after trade. And again, just the spacing on each of these players towards that B main on Reform side being a little bit too big. They were not able to be close enough to get those trades. So I feel like Reformed has a pretty good idea of what's going on. It's not like it was a bad call. It was a really good call. It looked really good, like a good counter. Just the execution didn't work out and the trades were not in their favor.
Is it the second level of the execute is where things started to go wrong? I mean, because legitimately, right as soon as the barriers dropped, through the first set of gunfights and engagements, it all was turning up in favor of Reformed. But it's all it takes is one pick from Floor, showstopper to follow, plus then a rotation from Sarah to clean back out that mid hit that Milby found so much success on. It's just, it's one of those moments that you feel for Reformed start to get a little frustrated. It's just like, we did everything right. What, how do we continue to keep those things going? I mean, that's a 5v3 situation that just kind of goes awry, though.
Yeah, I feel like that was one of the rounds where they're just going to be able to be talking about the small micro mistakes that happened because those small mistakes did add up to make them lose that round.
Yeah.
But as we get back into this, we still have the Cypher and Gecko set up towards A, not changing their setup on the defense side, but a lot of these players from Reform towards this mid with those Sheriffs and the Spectre just trying to get any kind of picks. They've abused this top mid before on that pistol round, and they're looking to do it again, Shift.
Watching on this is Alexis. Rolling Thunder at the ready. That's going to be used immediately. Just seeing the barrier orb is enough for them to make that commitment. Fluorescent also going to just boop herself up onto the barrier orb to make sure no one is playing through mid, but the attention back through market. Good for the first. Secrets are out. Mel, what? Absolutely insane transfer over to Kaz, who looked like had the angle on her. Slandy's still finding success, though, from the front. Also a late lurk. Misu's going to re-hit back to the barrier orb. That could be an important 1v1, and that's enough to take down Noya unexpectedly. Spike, though, not planted. Floor steps up, is able to find 2, and now they know where the last player is. Tough seeds as Misu has to navigate a 1v2.
Spike is down in such an uncomfortable spot too, but both these players just allowing Misu to take this space. They know that this player has to get Spike down in order to win the round, so they're not playing with too much ego, not being too aggressive, not playing in any crazy crossfires, just allowing Misu to get the bomb and be able to get on site and plant. They need to come up with something, Misu. They need to get those numbers back.
Yeah.
10 seconds
Maybe
left.
a chance to sneak to the back of the site for a safe plant. That will be the case. Is Yinamash at the ready for Sarah? Oh, pardon me, Wingman. The Wingman will be spent first. That comes out to help clear. Fluorescent tried to blast back over. That won't work out. And whoa! How about Misu? Predicts the second one perfectly. A 1v2 Red Bull clutch. And it saves Reformed, now up 4-3.
What a clutch. I mean, that round looked so crazy from the Rolling Thunder being wasted top mid because of the Sage Wall just baiting that reaction out to the trades and the flicks and market from Mel. Every single part of that round was wild. It looked solidified in the bag. But again, just a little bit of spacing issue for Shopify going into it this time. But Misu back on top. And now the res live for this Sage. And they're going to stick to their bread and butter of defaulting towards this mid. I mean, two players on SR kind of have a feeling they have both initiators towards top mid and floor in the market holding a crossfire. But is this going to work out for them?
You also have an X factor of an operator in the hands of Mel, watching over towards B main at the moment. Smoke is up. Sarah thinking about the peak. Floor the same. 8 shells will go through. There's the Dizzy. I mean, that's just a perfect isolation. And a lot of it comes just kind of as just a raw, blind, proactive peak. And now Reform had to try to work this back 4v5 unless they could get forward enough to possibly save a life and bring Riv back. I just don't know if this res is necessarily worth it from this position, though.
Yeah, definitely really rough, especially knowing that they had a setup for mid, but Sarah getting one, but being traded out by Millie now. Still at a number disadvantage for RF. Millie going up top mid, trying to get anything. But yeah, I mean, that Sage res is what they needed to get back into the round, but unfortunately, gone from Misu.
So now you got to play this one out. Reeve essentially 2 over towards A at the moment.
30
if
seconds
you can do this
left.
cleanly, you got the availability to set up your post plan. Couple of Cypher traps being taken care of. Cyber Cage goes up. Noya checking. Find is going to go into the astral form right in the middle of it. Drops, and the first one's good for Noya. That may be enough. 1 for 1, plus also the knowledge that this is going to be an A execute. Spike does extend the round, though. 2v3.
Should be a little bit of an easy retake technically when you have on paper that paranoia from Mel and 2 smokes, or 1 smoke, sorry, to follow up with it. But playing in a little bit of an aggressive angle here for Millie might be able to get one.
Kaz backs off. Paranoia will split the difference between both of the Reformed members. Back from Kaz. Here's the follow-up from Millie. Not going to work out. Alexis gets both. Whoa-wee. Didn't get to see it from her perspective, but it sure was an impressive view. And Shopify will cleanly break down the 3v2 and tie us back up at 4.
Feels like the discipline that we've seen from Shopify in previous matches really showed up this one round because they recorded mid with such good timing and they had a solid understanding of RF leaving that Cypher to lurk a lot of the time. And then as well denying the res from the Sage. That was a beautiful, beautiful mid-round call from SR, but they're going to keep the same setup on this side. But Reform, they kind of have some form of an answer with Misu, the hero Phantom, going into that B main.
Yep. Lots of things to still think about here for Reform, not just in this particular round, but also moving forward, and they may now figure out that Mel is sniping. Oh my goodness, I think we were all looking for maybe a triple collapse. It was nearly a full stack up. Floor will make good on it though. Nice blast pack in the classic. Woo! Schmoovin'!
Oh my.
Fluorescent for 4 and the flawless. That's nasty.
That was just like a death match right there. I don't think that was a round or anything. This looked like a crazy collapse from Mel before. Just cleaning up in this B main. A fast, thrifty for RF so they can just get back right into it. But they still don't have that much. I mean, they're one off of that showstopper for Millie, maybe able to do something here towards that B main and set up and execute, but they're going back into that same op on Mel.
Yep. And again, that's going to be a new issue that Reformed had to provide an answer for so they can get it out of their hands. Trailblazer gets pretty deep. It does get deleted by Alexis over at mid-market. And that's enough, actually, for Sarah to try to rotate back maybe a little bit quicker to try to deal with mid and keep Alexis a bit safer. I mean, it's just one of those things that this round right here feels like an early, not must win, but it'd be nice to take this one if you Reform, get your eco back into grips.
Yeah, a lot of pressure coming in on the B side. Mel getting that first pick with that operator is just going to absolutely delay anything from Reform. They know they do not want to go back into that. The Sage res coming in, not able to spam through that smoke, but now looking like a bit of a cancel, but Floor jumping over, but Riv catching that trade immediately.
Decent trade back. So now the numbers tilt in favor of Reform. 42 seconds on the clock. Spike is going to make its way over towards A. They're going to try to fake a B execute. Yeah, they sure are. But Shopify are not necessarily baffled by this. A re-wrapping over towards mid. Millie's going to catch both, though. Oh, a little pitter-patter of the foot. will be enough for Shopify to get caught. And now the Spike can take its desperate measures back over towards B for what should be a comfortable post plant.
Mel and Noya left in this 2v5. Really well played from Reform. They're using that push and pull method, poke and prod, to be able to bait a lot of that reach util, bait the rotations, and they played that perfectly. The lurk from Riv actually being the standout of this round. Being able to catch Flora off guard and also being able to put so much pressure towards that A site to pull so many rotators over. Just really, really well played by Reformed. But SR are going to opt to save this operator here, probably setting up again towards that B main, or maybe trying to do something more aggressive. Personally, I'd love to see something more aggressive towards mid.
I like the call. Just keep it up, you know, try to keep him guessing just a touch. You're going to have, you know, another round to play with here. So why not give it a go? Another couple of rounds to play with. But that's an important round right there for Reformed. Everyone lives, you know, second chance for one, but everyone survives through the round. Your eco's back to allow you to buy when you eventually get to round 12. If this one goes disastrously wrong, you're also really close. So you're going to have a Cosmic Divide, which is going to be a huge tool to possibly get this thing 7-5 on the half. That'd be a great opening half for Reformed, all things considered, with how, you know, things were starting to really trend towards Shopify in the middle portion of this half.
For sure, and they have that defensive comp to sort of solidify potentially having a good lead on that defensive side too. Looking really good for Reformed. I mean, 5 rounds, equalized numbers, that's an ideal situation. But still, they're going to be trying to find as much information as they can. Sarah with that initial dizzy to get info towards a main, but RF playing a little more passive than usual, not really taking that many players towards tires, but having a lot of players towards market. But Mel, beautiful mid-hold with that operator.
Plus the follow-up, whether the paranoia hits or not, it's kind of used as a self-smoke. It's just so hard to see through it as it's going towards you. And that'll work out for an opening double. It's just one of those rounds that Reformed again. Just you can almost feel the collective deep sigh of like, we're just about to execute. Just give us the chance to do it. Mel doesn't let him though. And now it's just down to what can you make out of this, you know, orange juice out of oranges if you're Reformed. Mel doesn't quite see Misu on the trade back. Misu looking for an angle, but it does actually work out. Just out of the range of vision for Mel. Floor, here's the footsteps. Punish for the step up, and hold on. Now we've got ourselves a 3v3.
Alexis alone on site to hold the shift. I don't know, this is looking kind of rough. Sarah's already here, ready to come back onto site.
Yeah, and all it takes is a one tap. I mean, plus now the neural theft from Noya. Riv trying to make something happen. But it's a hatless Noya on the other side. Hold on a second, 1v1. Oh my goodness! Riv provides, kind of stuck between both members for Shopify, but Noya second guesses the angle, and Riv pulls off a 1v2 Red Bull clutch to get the 6th round.
That was an insane clutch. I mean, Mel overstaying a little bit in the market. You want to rotate that off as soon as you get those picks. Really good initial start, early game from SR. But the mid round from Reform to be able to get into that market, to be able to punish anyone trying to be a little bit too aggressive when they have numbers. Beautiful played, and of course Riv with a wonderful clutch. That was really good. Now a lot of early information here, a little bit more aggressive with this trap set up towards A, but RF, they're gonna read this and really quickly rotate towards mid and take as much map space as possible.
Love it. Use the numbers as best as you possibly can. This would be essentially a 4v2. The floor, timing, showstopper out. Doesn't really land, actually doesn't do any damage at all. But the traps behind it will allow at least an extra reveal on the way in. A decent attempt here from Kaz, trying to get some space over towards the backside of B, but the thrash should be called to re-clear market. That also locks up one. Cosmic Divide trying to save a life, but Billy now all of a sudden in the danger zone. Misu right there to support. This is working out okay for Reform, but Sarah surprises through the Cosmic Divide. Another key kill comes out, 2v4. Misu try to do what they can, but it's just the opener. But we've seen this before. Slandy. 1v3, Star in position for the Vortex to pull Alexis up, but it does get to halfway. So now you have to check if you're Slandy. Shots are good for the first. Gets away cleanly. Second one lands. Noya's only a bullet worth of health. 1v3, and Reform pull off the 7-5 half.
Switching sides.
Oh my goodness, round after round, clutch after clutch for Reformed, man. They're getting way back into this. They are so back. These players are feeling it. It felt like trade after trade was just happening for both of these teams. Leading Slandy in this 1v3. It felt like Shopify had the upper hand, but Slandy wonderfully played really good discipline. And that is the kind of post plant that we were talking about, but just on top for Reform. That is not at all what I expected to see for this attack side half. And now they're on this defense shift. They have all this defensive utility we talked about. I wonder how this is going to play out with all of 5 players from Shopify towards this B site in mid.
Absolutely. Quick guiding light being used defensively. Blast packing up. Millie trying for something, but Shopify, let's be honest, they were all stacked up. Not necessarily ready for it, but they dealt with it. So first blood cleanly taken by Shopify. And now Reformed kind of have to stretch themselves a little bit thinner on this 4-man defense.
Reform trying to make Shopify play to their tempo, pushing down mid so fast, really showing their aggression, showing that, hey, we're here to play based on those last few rounds of clutches. I get it. It's great. But Millie just dropping, really unfortunate. Now we see the Shopify special where they group up, contact up, and are able to trade any of these peaks. They catch Slandy and off contact. They're going to speed up into this AITQ.
Trying to hold on will be Slandy. Vortex will slow things down just a touch, but the defense not really fully committing on the rotate over. Slandy's done really well to get the first. Straight back is good. Over the top, Misu keeps it level at 3v3. Plus the heal, but Mel's plant now sets a new challenge for Reform to have to deal with.
They're concussed.
The Prowler getting one on site, but a Sky Flash here shift for this retake. 3 players going from A-Link.
Mel on the cross, close corner, pardon me. Flashes out, and Kaz able to get the opener, but now the crossfire setup between Alexis and Floor. Riv out of the dark cover, gets around pretty cleanly, but Floor just dancing with her. And oh boy, it's a tango for 2. And Riv is not the one leading. Concussed up. Yeah, the fault line will give the advantage back over to Floor, who is just absolutely going around and around the container, not allowing herself to be a target.
Yeah, and beautiful util from Alexis. The support is just so good. And now Floor is sitting at that 20-7 scoreline, which is insane. This pistol was so chaotic, but again, we do see the discipline that Shopify brings a lot of time to the table, working out so well for that last fight. And now we have this sort of buy from Shopify. Still have a ghost on Noya, but Spectres and Bulldogs across the board. Eco for Reformed, and they're looking to be a little bit more aggressive towards that mid.
Why not try something new? Well, not new. They kind of did this last round in a way, but trying to catch up. Here we go again. Well, Shopify are going to see free entry towards the backside of A elbow, and maybe more than that, with the dark cover being placed deep. Fault line also out, and extra utility just to confirm that, yep, no one is home, including the Mox, just to continue that zone deeper. So should be a 5v5 post plant setup, but of course the weapon supremacy does still tilt with Shopify.
3 players on the flank here, gonna pop that trip, but they have an Omen and a Cypher from Shopify holding this flank, ready to fight.
Flash out does not affect Noya. Sees a couple on the cross. Mel taking their time. The crossfire setup is perfect. First threat now dealt with, and really that was the only threat here for Reformed, as these 2 players on flank would have to get some sort of a clean kill if they wanted to try to make this interesting, but Boombot would clear that out, say, nope, not interested. Even the wall bangs. Fluorescent continues to pick people through smokes, through walls. Doesn't make much of a difference. Dizzy also out, and yeah, no one will survive for the side of Reformed as we go back to the tied at 7.
Really quick reactions from Shopify. Once they know the whole side is clear, they were ready to set up in their post plant. Again, Reform, not much they could do for that pistol, but still doing decently well, getting them down and being able to do a little bit of damage. And now they know that the mid, they've taken it before on pistols. They're probably not going to do it again. So they're going to set up for 3 players towards this B site. Sage ready to hold that market. But for Shopify, they're looking to default once again. This is their bonus, but they still have really good guns for long range fights.
Yeah, absolutely. And well, how about it? Slandy will use one of those long-range gunfights for first blood. So just as soon as we talk about it, Reform say not so interested in that. Satchel forward though for Floor, all the way deep in towards the back of main. And now it's down to the timing here for Kaz, who gets caught trying to throw out a guiding light. Millie on the way in, trying to recover. Whoa, okay. Works out. Back and forth we go. We stay 2v2, though, as the defense from A starts to get their way in.
So far, the trade's going crazy, but this is Shopify's bonus. This is going their way. 2v2. Only 1 star on Aster to be able to prevent this plant or do some sort of delay, but
Yeah.
Shopify just immediately getting 2 kills together. I mean, the teamwork really makes the dream work. That bonus was wild. I mean, initially, Slaney just getting the pick onto Sarah, I thought it was a little bit doomed, but it really didn't matter. They just sped up all the way through that market, through spawn. What a play. This B main was kind of sloppy, though. Kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Trades all over.
It's just one of those situations that, you know, you kind of just get caught trying to throw the guiding light if you're Kaz, when you really could have stayed a little bit deeper around the corner if you wanted to. Just maybe trying to do 2 things at once.
Yeah.
You know, the old sports metaphor of you run before you catch the ball type situation right there, where you're running before you actually throw the flash. Tough situation to be. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I mean, the thing is, like, they had the right read too.
Yeah,
they were
absolutely.
gonna retake B main. They were gonna keep B main, even though they lost market. It was a really good push-pull scenario for Reformed, but again, just a couple seconds too late, which we saw a lot of on Find.
Yeah, it's very true, very true. So now back to pistols and a Bucky for Reformed. Against the full rifles of Shopify. Not what you want here, but definitely some deadly tools that could get something cheeky done, especially if Slandy does get run into here. Honestly, playing a 1-for-1 angle wouldn't be, you know, the most amount of value overall, but the ability for someone to swing and get a trade is also there. And that's, again, playing into the hands of Reformed if SR do decide to get onto this A site.
Yeah, 4 players ready. And then a Sky to kind of quick rotate Millie with the kill, and now Elbow is just completely flooded by SR.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Slandy also dropping Riv, trying to use their own cage, but not going to work out. Noya just staying a little bit deeper off of it. So Kaz, last one left, 1v4 with the Sheriff stuck over towards this connector at A main. And with that stray shot going out, the Dizzy will come through, the flashes to follow. And Kaz, they can get a little bit more costly, but largely fine will be Shopify as they grow their cushion back to 2 rounds.
Looking comfy indeed. But now, on this round, we have 4 ults on Shopify's side. This is going to be a little bit hard to hold any map or any side of the site when they're trying to commit those ults before and execute. But at the same time, we cannot forget we have stars, we have slows, we have walls. I really want to see Reformed put a lot of effort into their defense side by using so much of this utility, as well as the Astro Wall and the Showstopper for that retake. But a really fast B main and market hit looking for Shopify.
Thrash going to be used immediately. Floor also deepened towards market, kind of sidestepping the gravity vortex. But the wall gets placed by Mizu. They'll reinforce. Slow orb stalls out the hit through market. So the defense has a chance to rotate back over. Floor is still dancing with utility over through market. Lots of stars going her direction, but deals with it just fine. Now on the long corner. Floor gets another, but Mizu holding on. Almost takes down 3. Gave a chance maybe for Reform to get back over, but the Thrash now reclaimed and spent. Riv seen. And this 1v3 would be the most unlikely of the clutches that we've seen for Reformed.
Yeah, this is definitely rough for Riv. Seeing the Cypher cam nodding a little bit, giving respects from Cypher to Cypher, but too rough to call. And, I mean, maybe worthy of a save, keeping this Phantom instead of trying to get one. Sarah with the wide swing. Not much that they could do there, but Reformed, and they're just falling a little bit apart. They're not prepared for these fast hits. It's really hard to trade out for Fluorescent too, because they're just 25-9. Like, what can you do against that shit?
That is legitimately the also underlying theme of the maps we've had so far, is not only do Shopify Rebellion feel like at times they maybe get away with a couple of kills that turn the tides of around. I think their game plan has been solid. The response etiquette has been great to what problems they face for Reformed. But underneath all of that is still the fact that Fluorescent is Fluorescent. I mean, 25 through 18 is a stupid amount of participation.
again, floor go kill is just unbeatable at a certain point. So I feel like that it's just working out really well for Shopify. And now we're in this situation where Reformed, they unfortunately have to eco again. Sheriffs all around. They do have 3 ults. I don't think they're going to use it on a round like this in order to push and try to have a winning condition for this round, but they could just try to work it. They've had a lot of success kind of walking down mid and trying to prevent any of that, but I mean, Shopify, they've just been one step ahead, changing the tempo almost every single round, as well as abusing their market hold. It's not looking too hot for Reformed.
The other side of it, though, like, you're staring down a double-digit tally for Shopify, and they're not setting up for anything, but maybe someone offers a conversation like, do we try for some sort of a trap play with the showstopper? Because if we could get one, get it cleanly, we get weapons, plus we also have a res in case anyone falls. Like, there may have been a conversation about it, but you're right. They are going to save everything for now and maybe see about using something later in the round if these sheriffs do connect.
Yeah, I mean, low-key, I would have loved to see a Millie go crazy with the showstopper down mid, but either way, Shopify was expecting it. If you look at the map, they're just sitting in this bottom mid. They're holding, defaulting, finally starting their early round. Minute into the round, they're just sitting there contacting up, trying to get as much information as they can without using as much util, and looking like they're going to try ending towards this B site.
Bycam, the really only defense of this at the moment. Showstopper gonna get pulled for Shopify. That's tossed over towards market. Nothing there. Slandy had a couple of opportunities, not landing any of it. Same can be told for Rib. So post-plant setup now looking pretty much like a guarantee. 5v3, just sheriffs left for Reform, trying to break their way back in and seeing what they can find. Oh.
Trying to do the Sheriff GC special.
True.
But not much to be done. All 3 players towards spawn though.
Shorty. I mean, when Floor's finding one tap with the Shorty, little softball toss with the paint shells, even pushing through it because I don't care. Crazy seeds, but Floor is the only one to drop, and Shopify deal with the little cheeky forward play for Reform pretty nicely. And now we're in must-win territory here for Reform with all 5 ultimates at the ready for them.
Yeah, they need to be ready. They need to be proactive. They need to be doing something super, super intense because they need to get information first off and not too aggressive. They have to get that mid-round information. They need to be ready for anything fast too. A lot of these players have been pushing through mid for Shopify. And again, we're seeing not that much mid control from Reform. They're just putting the Astra. They've changed the setup a little bit with double players in market. But still, it's not going to be enough information and enough to hold anything that's going on for Shopify.
I was just about to say, is this one of those situations for Reformed you're kind of thinking about just playing purely post-plant retake with things like the Cosmic Divide at the ready? I mean, it does feel like it's just kind of a read and react type setup, not really getting any sort of early info. You may have to default for playing for retake here.
Yeah, a lot of players playing off that A site, exactly what you were talking about, just committing to that retake. But, I mean, they're going to be somewhat stacking towards this top mid, too. They know that they've been losing a lot of those fights, but the Sky popping the ult, going to get a lot of that information. The players going to seek all the way through, but the full B hit coming in from SR, they're so ready for this, and no one is on site to contest.
Well, Slandy trying to spam down the wingman, not going to happen. And SR are standing on site. They're very aware that they do not want to be caught way behind a possible Cosmic Divide. Showstopper first and foremost. That's going to get thrown desperately, and it will not connect. SR find the first 3 kills. And for Misu and Slandy, I mean, you have to. You'd have to play for the win here. Slandy will get 1. Misu another. Would be a 1v4 in technicality if it gets caught with the healing orb. And Noya for 3 in the round will help Shopify get to series point.
Yeah, definitely just a little bit rough again. Reformed, I mean, they used their ult so early on the Sky that they couldn't use it for the retake either. They did get all the information, but again, it just felt like their rotate was just either a little bit too slow or Shopify put a wrench in it through that top mid kind of pressure from Mel. Just such a little crazy way to kind of abuse their mid from Shopify. They put so much pressure just by having an Omen, Paranoia, and TP out. It just put a halt to Reform. They had to stop. They had to clear that mid. But now they're looking for some B main aggression, choosing to opt out because of the breach and using the wall to finally slow down this execute. It's not going to slow down SR at all.
Not at all. Misu dealt with in the corner. Floor just has a sixth sense. Spams through the smoke. Sees Millie pop out. And with that elimination, it all rests with Slandy and Riv. 2v5. It's been a map full of clutches for Reformed. None maybe more important than this one potentially, but as Riv drops and SR continue to hold W forward, Slandy is just so far away and only a Guardian to work with. Just simply zoned out of the picture. Floor, of course, very appropriately, also gets 4 in the round. I believe that takes her to 30 plus. I mean, that speaks for itself, let's be honest.
I mean, that is a crazy, crazy stat, especially when you have rounds that are so close and you find Reformed clutching. It's like, hey, it wasn't that far of a difference between these rounds, but Floor just bringing it back, clutching. Floor, go kill. The teamwork that SR was using as well to support just played out perfectly. This map definitely belonged to SR.
Very solid stuff from Shopify through and through. A handful of moments, though, that you do look over to Reformed and say, okay, like we're seeing what you're working with. A couple of cool comps, a couple of cool ideas, a couple of great clutches, but not enough to surpass the Shopify Rebellion. So with that, that concludes the 2-0 for Shopify. We head to a break for the Nest to break it down and give us our Verizon post-match interview right after this.
I'm working hard and I show them when out the water I blow them who really want it.
Welcome back, everyone, to Verizon Game Changers Series 2, Day 2. I'm your host, Elizabeth, joined by Bala and Wyatt. And as always, if you're just joining us, well, you missed it. Shopify Rebellion defeated Reform GC with a very, very clean 2-0. There was a little bit of a second there in Map 2 and on Sunset where we thought maybe we're going to Map 3 where Reform was pulling ahead a little bit with some pretty stellar clutches, Bala. But in the end, in true Shopify fashion, they run away with it and take the victory.
Yeah, that first half Reform really had me believing for real with some of those clutches that they were pulling out. But no, this is honestly, I've realized what the Shopify playbook is. Some of these games, they're like, let's see. We don't really know how this opponent's going to be. We don't really know them too much. Let's test it out. Let's kind of just chill for a bit. And I think that's kind of what happens. And then the second half comes and they're like, whoa, this is way too close. And they pull out the real strats. That attack side paranoia up mid, forward double satcheling up into defense spawn on B was like, it's perfect. Those sorts of things are what I love to see Shopify pull out. And they cooked on that second half. They did. 31 and 10.
31 and 10, a 436 ACS on floor. I mean, why do we expect anything less from a floor performance?
No, we really don't. This is, I mean,
dramatic pause.
This is the essential Shopify Rebellion series to me. It's a 2-0.
Put that on a
map is
t-shirt.
particularly close. The first one, you know, it's just they're comprehensively outplaying the opponent as a unit, but then also a bunch of the rounds they don't even need to. Players are just going to get 2Ks, 3Ks, and then they give you one map where floor drops 30 plus, and they just get a free win off that. It's the essential Shopify series that we've all seen before. We know, we love, etc., etc.
A little bit
We trust
drama
it.
in there.
We
though.
know it. We love it. But something I want to go back to, Bala, is what I mentioned to you was the Reformed had you in the first half, and they really had all of us in the first half with those, hero plays and clutches that we saw. That Slandy clutch to end the first half was beautifully done, and it's just truly. I mean, Slandy popped off this game.
And there were so many. I mean, multi-kills involved. There was the 1v3 by Misu right here, which I thought was a done round way before this moment even. There's the Riv 1v2 at the end of the half. Like, this is absolutely insane. And then there's moments right there where I'm thinking for sure Shopify should be closing out these rounds. But there were definitely some mistakes that you had players like Slandy taking easy advantage. Reformed was, playing so well, and that's what I was talking about yesterday. What they impressed me was some of those hero plays. You saw it right there again. That's why that game was close up until that second half, and it really was. I think a little bit of weakness being shown for Shopify, maybe a little bit of complacency in that sense in the first half.
It's interesting because I forget which member Shopify told me that something they always kind of have to work on is making sure that, because they're at such a high level, to make sure they're never playing down to a level.
Yeah.
Because everyone here is such an excellent player and is so good at what they are and what they do. And there's a reason everyone is here. There's a reason everyone has qualified by points or winning the open qualifiers, because they are the best of the best. They beat everyone else, including this little segue, best of the best, Fluorescent. We could talk about her all day, Wyatt. We could literally, I don't think there's anything we could say about them that hasn't been said before, but they are seriously, I would argue, one of the best players we have in the country right now.
In the country?
Yes.
I mean, that's a bold statement.
And I'm saying it. I'm doing it.
I mean, listen, floor. You said we could talk about floor
so
all
real.
day,
What are we
and
talking about?
honestly,
Real.
I think I only have maybe like 20-30 seconds because we've talked about floor all day for so many days already that I just don't know how much. How much
2
more is there
years.
really to? How much more is there to say at this point? I mean, even this round that you're watching right now,
that's
or maybe
so
it was
sick.
one a couple rounds ago, they all look the same. It's like, oh, good. Reformed are in a 5v3. Surely they'll close this one out and build some momentum. Oh, no. Floor just immediately gets 3 kills. All right. And then they need to clutch a 1v3 to win a round. And then, then the next one, they find another reasonable advantage. Oh, Floor gets 4 kills. It's just not fair.
I almost want to correct something I said before. I said, like, and this is true for a lot of the games that they have. Alexis really does set Floor up a lot, but Floor is just fine getting the kill themselves. Like, they will walk, like, satchel in, do their thing, and get 3 or 4, and walk away a little bit hurt, or sometimes unscathed. But she's good for that too, and that sort of like you have that initiator like Alexis to set them up, but you also just can let Floor literally satchel in and fly away.
Yeah, honestly, sometimes I'm watching the game. I'm like, I'd be kind of pissed if I was her teammate. Like, Noe gets a perfect trip off, and then Floor comes satcheling in and gets on her angle. I'm like, yo, get off of this is my kill, man. What's going on?
I think it's one of those things where it's like, you know what? This time you can have it. This time you can take it. But friends, we have to suit up. We have to get ready because Madam President is arriving soon for the Verizon post-match interview. Everyone, please welcome Madam President, Shopify Rebellion, Noya. Madam President, great to see you. Welcome. I'm sorry I did not dress the best I could. I tried. But how are you doing, Madam President?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, Ms. President. Thank you so much. Beautiful performance. The first thing I want to talk to you about was the bind comp, because we were looking at it and we were surprised by it, but we know Shopify can get a little bit creative while they do stick to the meta. But you guys pulled out the Harbor and you were on the Brim. Talk to me about that.
I don't know. I think we just found it worked in practice, so we tried something new. It worked. We stuck with it, and I mean, it worked today as well. So let's go.
Let's go, simple as that. Was there other things that you tried that didn't work, or was this maybe like the one and done, all right, we tried this, it works, we're not changing it?
We didn't try a lot. This was just like, I mean, it worked when we tried it, so you know, why try another shit? Oh, can I say that?
Try another. I didn't hear anything, don't worry about it. Okay. Mel told me, I talked to her a bit before the event, and she told me that she expects you all to win the event. Just to check in before I ask my next question, you expect Shopify will win the event, correct?
I think so. I hope so.
Okay.
Oh, we're aiming for it.
You know, listen. Everyone loves Shopify, right? And you're allowed to believe in yourself. In fact, I would recommend you believe in yourself. But something we were discussing on the desk was just and Mel had talked to me about this as well, was the just amount of great free agent teams that are here in Series 2. You know, 6 out of the 8 teams are not signed. You are one of those signed teams. You have played against, I think all the teams you have played against in this series thus far have been unsigned teams. Talk to me about the kind of playing against these unsigned teams who like maybe have other commitments and are still, you know, making you guys sweat a little bit.
I mean, they have less time to practice, so sometimes people run cheesy comps to try and, cheese a map off of you, which is, I think they did that on Sunset, and it can catch you off guard. But we have Effie's who like helps us in like tags and like right before the game starts, and I think that's how we counter them. We just like listen to what he says, we stick to his game plan, and then, we trust Mel to pull mid rounds.
What did Effie say about the Sunset match?
Just to not let them plant B because they have Sage. Just like try to fight them before they get to B, because the post plant on Sunset B side is always awful to retake against.
Yes. During the half, what did Effie say to you when Reformed were up 7-5? Was there a conversation of we need to change what we're doing, or was it go with the game plan as we had planned before?
It was just to go with the game plan. Nothing major to change. I think, I don't know. Losing pistol is always hard, and then I don't know, we just went with the game plan, and it turned out well in the end, so.
And you're at boot camp right now, correct?
Yes. My teammates are here.
Hello, teammates. Hello, Shopify. Congratulations. But what is it? What have you guys worked on in boot camp that maybe you needed to work on from Series 1 into Series 2?
Oh, even before boot camp, we've just been practicing a lot more, because, just to get our form back to, like, not dropping random maps here and there, and, working out comps and just getting a shit ton of practice in. I still can't say that.
It's all good, So did you think, from in Series 1 you weren't in the form that you should have been, and now you're in that form, you would say?
Yes. It's a lot better now.
Okay.
I still don't think we're 100% where we want to be, but it's a lot better, a lot closer to where we want to be.
Right. Now, moving forward, I have one more question for you. I don't know if you saw, I don't think you saw it. Sarah had a little video package that she talked about, all of you guys, and she said Mel has a certain expectation that she brings to scrims and practice, and then when you're having a rough day, it can be kind of rough, but she really appreciates that. I would love for you to expand on that energy that Mel brings as the team captain coming in as this kind of storied veteran that we all know. What is that energy, and is Sarah correct when you're having a bad day, it can be a little bit rough?
Like it can be rough that Mel has that energy, because I feel like it's uplifting that she's always trying her hardest, which pushes me to try my hardest even when I'm having a rough day, even when I don't know, when I feel like I'm not in the right spot ever. Mel always brings up the energy, tries to keep people happy even if we're down a lot of rounds. I think it's good.
Yes. I mean, obviously, people internalize things differently. And one last question. Passion Project said to me that they think they are the second best team right under you. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree.
You agree?
Watching
Simple as that?
Yes. Watching them
All
play
right, we
and
love it.
stuff like that. Like the individual players are also really good. So I think they're second.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Madam President, for your time, and congratulations on a very convincing 2-0 victory.
Thank you.
Always love talking to Madam President. Such a gift. Using my political science degree to the max right there.
Is that how you're going to be if you talk to the president?
Listen, you can't. Have you seen Twitch chat? Anytime Noya does anything, it's like, Madam President.
Oh, no, I misspoke. She is the real president. I was just wondering,
But today, if you are, again, just joining us, you have missed it. A Passion Project took home the victory 2-0, as well as Shopify Rebellion taking home the victory 2-0. Kind of, you can see number 2 and number 1 that we were discussing before. No map threes, no overtimes, a pretty clean day, Wyatt.
Yeah, the favorites winning in favorite fashion, but honestly, I really thought the first game would be closer. Still, it's unfortunate that Solstice had that situation with the sub coming in last second for the first map and causing a weird role swap, and it was their map pick, that whole thing. So I'm looking forward to seeing tomorrow if they're going to be able to bounce back and make it a bit deeper.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking down the entire bracket, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0, 2-0. Even in the lower bracket, this is one of those days. And I mean, to get updates on the lower bracket too, FlyQuest still hanging through. They're going to play Reformed next. ASOS Millionaire, in my opinion, that is a pretty surprising result. Not that game is an upset by any means, but I think it was tending more towards swappers in that case. And ASOS coming out on top with a 2-0. It was a close game, but yeah, that's pretty surprising. So the lower bracket's shaping up too.
I think it's also interesting because Solstice has Nora Scary Shark, who left Mesos to join Solstice, and now
that's a nice
she
game.
would be meeting them in the lowers. I'm sure obviously there's no bad blood or anything like that, but the lower bracket games are always super exciting because for those of you who are unaware or uninitiated, it is do or die. If you lose in the lower bracket, you are out. So like we said goodbye to Teddy Tactics today. While we love them very much, they will not be competing anymore in Series 2, and Floppers as well. But here is the schedule. We will be starting out with Reformed versus FlyQuest and Solstice, and going into Solstice versus Mesos Millionaires. Again, I cannot overemphasize, when you're in the lower bracket, it is do or die. You need to pull out all the stops in order to survive because you are on constant survival watch. Gentlemen, any predictions for tomorrow?
I'm looking at that top game. That one to me is the more interesting one and the more difficult one to predict, because I think FlyQuest, it depends on how they played today. I got to go back and watch that one, but they were looking more rough, and I think Reformed has a big chance to take them down, whereas for me, the Solstice Mesos Millionaires is a little bit more straightforward. I think I favor Solstice there.
Yeah, I pretty much echo the exact same sentiment. So long as Solstice bounce back from what happened today, that should be a pretty easy one for them, and I definitely want to see more of them in the tournament following that. But yeah, that first game, that should be a banger. That should be super good. So we'll have to see.
Yes, well, if these past 2 days have taught anyone anything about Game Changers, it is expect the unexpected, and you better lock in because we have some amazing games. But that is it for us today here on the desk. So on behalf of the casters, production, and Bala and Wyatt, thank you so much for joining us today on Verizon Game Changers, Day 2 of Series 2. We're going to send you on your merry ways. So have fun, be safe, make the decisions, and don't forget to hydrate electrics. It's getting a little warmer, okay? We'll see you later.